Jai Shri Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. And I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Srimad Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse in YouTube and the various groups that it will be subsequently posted here. Our ongoing topic on creation continues, and I've stated that our handbook for this Kaliyug is the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita was spoken directly by the Supreme Lord himself. And this dialogue that is contained between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna happened 5,000 years ago. So as recently as 5,000 years, the Supreme Lord descended on planet Earth and summarized the 4 Vedas and the Upanishads and condensed 540,000 verses or 45,000 verses of the entire Vedas into 700 verses. Simply 700 verses, only 700 verses for mankind. And at this point, Krish Bhai, whenever I say this, I always give an example. And this is a very common example that can be understood by every husband on this planet Earth. By every husband and ex-husband on this planet Earth. And I start off by saying, Jayashri, that when the wife opens the mouth in the morning, there is guaranteed more than 700 verses. Just in one morning, before the day begins, Krishna is emitted from the mouth. Okay? So far I have not been proven wrong, Jayashri. Husbands meet me on the side and they say, Guru, what a great Guru you are. What a great observation you have made. Krishna, this is because you knew, I'm saying, I'm not saying your wife emit 700 verses early in the morning, right? But generally wives. That is why, though I can't even see it, this COVID-19 is, this mask makes you inscrutable. I cannot peek at an emotion, I can just see 2 eyes in total submission to the Gurus. Okay? Jayashri, sounds familiar? 700 verses early in the morning. First beginning of the day, you understand. So it is not difficult to read 700 verses in a lifetime. If you can hear your wife in the morning, how difficult is it to hear the Lord? 700, only 700 verses, Dana. Dana, 155 trillion years have passed. How long you married, Dana? No, don't act young. 50 plus years. 154 trillion times he's heard verses in the morning from his wife. Alright? In fact, whilst he's here, some verses are still playing at home. Alright, Vasan, am I right? That's his great nephew. So, I'm saying this in a joke, but it's not a joke because I'm trying to make you understand that God, only the Supreme Lord, can condense 545,000 verses into 700 verses. It is not a feat that can be accomplished by any human. So if you read and understand through a bona fide spiritual master these 700 verses only, you accomplish the merit of your life as a human being. In essence, if you know the 700 verses, you know the entire Vedas. In essence, if you know the 700 verses, you know the entire Vedas. And the entire Vedas, which is found in 545,000 verses, is the entire manual on how to live in this material universe. Okay? So, introducing the Bhagavad Gita in this manner, I want to enter our topic for discussion. Now, topic for discussion is creation and how the created must synchronize when they are in human form with creation. How the created must synchronize when they are in human form with creation. So the analogy that I use most often, simply for easy understanding, is that you take the Guru as the diagnostic technician and you take yourself as a motor vehicle. So when the motor vehicle comes or goes to a mechanic, then when the mechanic does a diagnostic test on the motor vehicle, then there are one or more faults with that motor vehicle. Now I want to talk about a motor vehicle driven recklessly. I want to talk about a motor vehicle driven recklessly. So when a motor vehicle that is driven recklessly, it would mean that you are spinning your tires, you are braking suddenly, you are taking off suddenly, you are holding, young boys like to do that, alright? You want to limit, they call limiting. Yasin, I see you smiling. Limiting the rev counters. So the rev counter is meant to go at 3,000 revs and you must slip into the next gear. But these young boys, Shyam, Yashin, Vasan, okay, Vasan, sorry, you're looking young with that mask on your face. Okay? They like to change at 7,000 revs. Okay? So that engine, gearbox and differential is synchronized for the engine to be maximum performance at 3,000 revs, but it's going now at 7,000 revs, and then braking. And what Shyam used to do was spin his tires everywhere. When you heard spinning, then you'll see a blue Golf, and then you'll see Shyam. Alright? And you could identify all in one. So when you bring this vehicle to a diagnostic technician, a mechanic, he will have to do CV joints, He will have to do gear linkages, gearbox, a whole lot of things. So he will fix everything up and he will tell you why all these parts gave up. And then he will advise you. He will advise you that do not drive like this again. He will advise you, do not drive like this again. Otherwise, what will happen, Devashni? Yes, you come back to the mechanic with the same repairs or more repairs. Alright? Now that advice he gives you is called discipline. It's called discipline on how to drive your motor vehicle individually. Similarly, you come to a satsang. Your guru is your diagnostic technician. The reason you come to a satsang is your motor vehicle has some faults that needs to be fixed. Some of you may just come for alignment. Alright? Some might come for a gearbox. Some might come for a computer updating. Alright? Various faults. And mostly the females come for mouth breaks. Because Satisbhai, when they press the brakes in Marisburg, it only catches in Durban. How many accidents happen on the way from Marisburg to Durban, Satisbhai? The brakes only finally caught up in Durban. And the guru has become a master technician in mouth brakes. Okay? So, we fix all these things up there, Sri. You can see me. What's your defect, Sugars? You can see me in my kutir. It's looking like mouth brakes. Biggest fault is mouth brakes, alright? When the guru attends to all your faults, it means from the day you came to satsang, you have to start disciplining yourself to drive your vehicle called the body now in a different way. The guru's way, the technician's way. Because the way you drove your vehicle, you spun your tires, some of you blew head gaskets. I get a lot of head gasket overhauling here. Where's Chris? Chris? Yeah. Chris knows. He's my spanner boy. And he told me, boss, lot of head gaskets problem. Changing head gaskets, alright? Overheating, alright? Chris is my spanner boy. So, when the guru as a technician fixes your grocery list of problems, then it is your duty to drive that vehicle which the guru has fixed. It means you need to make a behavioral change. You need to make a total behavioral change. That behavioral change must be 360 degrees? No, because you'll come back to the same point, 360 degrees. It must be 180 degrees. So if you was here, that behavioral change must go here. And you have to discipline yourself, each one of you. When you, the individual, makes the change, then that will inspire your family to make that change. Your family to make that change. The first person to make that change must be you. Don't worry about your wife, or don't worry about your husband. Don't worry about your son, or don't worry about your daughter. Don't worry about your mother, or don't worry about your father. Those cars that were made in a batch, that breaks down and go to the mechanic, each car don't say, hey, we were born together, we come from the same batch. Each car has to be repaired independently and individually. You understand? So when you come to a satsang, a guru satsang, the guru recommends you bring your family, but first you have to show your family how you changed in this satsang. You have to show your family how you changed, how the satsang changed you. If you do not change, then how will the person that really needs change, how will he judge the guru? Nilendra? Jessica? They won't believe that this guru is powerful. Why? You never get repaired. Everyone needs a repair. That's why you're in the material universe. If you didn't need repairing, you'll be in the spiritual universe. Whoever is born in this material universe needs to be repaired. Whoever is born in this material universe needs to be repaired. So it means that this is the great difference between a temple and an ashram. When you go to a temple, you do your rituals and you go home. But when you come to an ashram, you have to get repaired. The Devis and Devtas don't care when you do your ritual, whether you're a smoker, whether you're a drinker, whether you're a gambler, whether you're a murderer. Devis and Devtas don't care. As long as you fasted on the Tuesday, you gave your banana and milk, Hanuman Baba gave you his blessings, depending on what sincerity you did that, and it's finished. All of you understand. But when you come to an ashram don't want your fruits, ashram don't want your milk, ashram don't want your money, ashram don't want anything. Ashram only wants you to do a behavioral change. That's all the ashram wants. You must change completely. When you change, then those around you will make a change, and it won't happen today or tomorrow. We have to work at it, because a human has a mind. A human has a mind, and a mind is like this game. Alright, I don't think Tivesni played this game because they got cell phones. But in our father's era, there were no cell phones, so we used to play a game with a bead in the center, a circle with a covering on the top, and many grooves until you reach the center. So remember the game, Satish? You keep changing, and then the bead will find its way, find its way, find its way until it goes. Oh, Tivesni knows. Right, so Tivesni is not as young as she looks. Okay, you know the game, Jayashree? So the mind has become like that game. It is stuck in one way of thinking. The mind is like that game. When a thought goes through the mind on the top, it goes round, 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 round until it goes in the center. Then you tilt the mind and the beat come out and goes back onto the top. You all see the mind working like that? Anything can happen, Satish Bhai. Something new can happen, Satish Bhai, but the mind is programmed like that game. It will go round, round, round. Jessica, sounds familiar? Round, 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 round. Go in the center. Then you topple the mind sideways, beat comes out, go round, 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 go on the top again. Now when you come to a guru, the guru takes out those grooves. The guru takes out those grooves, so the beat must go straight to the center. There must be no ebb and flow, acceptance and rejection, acceptance and rejection, acceptance and rejection, Jessica. Okay, I'll wear this blue sari. No, white at the other wedding, I'll wear this white sari. No. I'll wear the white sari at the other wedding, I'll wear the blue sari. And Satish Bhai is sitting in the car. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. Satish Bhai, experience?
I'm normally leaving and going.
Okay. So the mind, because it's going round, then going to the center, and then getting tilted and coming out again, the guru just wants the beat to go in the center and stay. And that is called discipline. And going round and round and round and round is called fleeting thoughts. Fleeting thoughts. Going round and round and round is fleeting thoughts. When the beat gets stuck in the center, it is called concentrated thought. It is called concentrated thought. The fleeting thought, through practice that the guru gives you, the fleeting thoughts, through practice that the guru gives you, will get destroyed. And the concentrated thought, through dispassion. What is dispassion? Sit up. What is dispassion? Dispassionately, it means without attaching yourself to it. The concentrated thoughts, when you disassociate with it, will also leave you. Will also leave you. A thought only stays in your mind as long as you give it room to stay, be it fleeting or be it concentrated. Now let me explain. This body which we call the vehicle, all right? And then we have a toilet, restroom, toilet. Dana? Which is cleaner? The toilet or this body? Do you ask me? Have you all ever thought of it? Why is the toilet cleaner? And this body? is in filth until you die and your body turn into dust or into ashes. You are cremated. This body is in absolute filth. Is it not? If you had to cut it, okay, for my South African audience, alright, tripe. How does tripe smell? Years ago, in my time, Yashi, not your time, don't shake your head, you don't even know how tripe really smells. In my time and your dad's time, when we should go through the market, sugars, and it used to be hanging with 1 million flies.
Yeah.
And if you ever got a smack with a smell, that would be it. So this body, everything we doing, all our problems in our life is because of this body. But this body is the filthiest vehicle on this earth. Who's traveling in this body? Who is the driver of this body? And what is the condition of the soul? What is the constitutional condition of the soul? Vasudeva Ramanuj Das. Absolute purity. The soul is spiritual. The soul is a part of the Supreme Lord. Material nature is material. It is an attribute of the Supreme Lord. As long as you think that you are this body, as long as you think I, Tivashni, is this body, then what are you acquainting yourself with? Satisfied? Absolute filth. Absolute filth. Because you can flush the toilet and you can take these chocolates they used to give us. Satisfied? Then now what was the chocolate?
Brookline.
Yeah.
Got flavored now.
Now it's flavored. In Milky Bar. Okay? No matter how many of those you take, the stomach continues to generate filth. That filth diffuses into your blood system. It mixes, your new food mixes with your logic, and the old food is absolute filth. It mixes with your blood system and diffuses to your brain. All of you understand? If you eat tamasic food, then your mind will have tamasic thoughts. If you eat rajasic food, your mind will have rajasic thoughts. And if you eat sattvic foods, your mind will have sattvic thoughts. Whose mind? Your mind. How can you conquer your mind and your thoughts? Through dispassion. Through dispassion. Dispassion means I am a pure soul. Due to my beginningless karma, the Lord has inserted me into a filthy body. The body is not me. I am the soul. And I am pure in my constitutional position. I must use up all my karmas in this body so that I am released in my pure position. So that I am released to my pure constitutional position. However, whilst I'm living in this filthy body, I must not attach myself to this filthy body. I must not attach myself, Jayashri, to this filthy body. Shuddhas must remind her in the morning when she's busy putting lipstick and rouge and trimming the eyebrows. Remind her of this discourse. Shuddhas, remind her of this discourse. No matter how expensive clothes you put on this body, Satish Bhai, body is still rotten and filthy. You all understand? I'm talking about dispassion. If your mind can discipline itself, if your mind can discipline itself that the very body that I think I am not, for I am not filthy. I am pure. Then everything that's attached to this filthy body will also be filthy. This body is filthy, and all your attachments to this body outside that body will also be filthy. But when you realize that I am a pure soul, I am imprisoned in this body because of all the wrongs that I did in the past, and I've been given this body, now I have realized. I have realized all my mistakes. I am not going to attach anything related to this body anymore, but I will live within this body. And I'll give you an example. Again with the lotus plant. How many of you had an opportunity to see a lotus plant? Either physically or in some program somewhere on fauna and flora. So the lotus plant is absolutely pure, is it not? The flower, how radiant it is, how beautiful it is, very beautiful. But if you dive underwater, the root of the lotus plant is in absolute filth. Dead frogs, dead crabs, all those aquatics that's living there. You understand? But the lotus is, although attached to the root and attached to the filth, it is exuding absolute beauty because it has detached itself from the atmosphere of the filthy water. So it's not hard and it's not impossible to live as a pure soul whilst the root of you, the living entity, is embedded in a filthy body. All of you understand? So from today, understand yourself first. Understand yourself first. Become individual and then become family. And then become company. And then become employer. And then become employee. But first understand yourself. And you can make this change. You can make this change. Alright? For those, and for my transcriber, and for those that do not know me, I used to be a senior politician. And Jessica was my political disciple. Then I became a spiritual master, and now Jessica became my spiritual disciple. This is the first. This is the world first. You understand? Where a politician, a senior politician, leaves his ranks and his subordinate joins him, he becomes a spiritual master and she becomes his disciple. It's unique because the guru-disciple relationship is absolutely unique. It cannot be fathomed. It cannot be fathomed by the material mind. This is a first. This is a first. Also seated in here is a policeman who is currently a policeman, and also seated in this discourse is in the satsang is a former policeman. Both of them in the police, and I am also a former policeman, and both of them are senior to me in rank and in service. Okay? But today, both of them are my disciples. Again, absolutely mind-boggling for those that are in the material world. They'll never understand. But this is the uniqueness of the guru-disciple relationship. This is the uniqueness, the absoluteness, and the absolute purity of this system. Okay? So, Jessica won't be here. My two police friends won't be here if there wasn't some conclusive evidence to corroborate that this system is authentic and valid. Because you work it out. You work it out. Imagine our former state president becomes a... Okay, Jessica is about to get a heart attack. I'd rather stop. Okay? I'm just saying. Alright? So I want to conclude. But before I conclude, I respect the distance you all travel to come to this. I respect the faith that you have that by coming to this satsang, there will be some peace. And whatever capacity I have been endowed by my spiritual master, I always fulfill it. I always fulfill it. I have all devotees here, disciplined devotees. I have Dana, I have Vasan, Nilendri, Tiveshni. They are old, they've been long with me. And if you have the patience, let me repair what I'm repairing. Sometimes we don't want to cross-thread a knot. Sometimes, Krishna, we don't want to cross-thread a knot. If I don't have the right size knot, and if I don't have the right talk settings, unlike other guru systems, just for you to be in our service, we don't do a rush job. for you to break again. So I appreciate on a Thursday, and I think in this COVID-19, we can say with that Lord Sriman Narayan is absolutely pleased. You all risk so much for the Lord. The Lord don't have to risk anything for you. He can give you as He pleases. Okay? I want to, in my scientific discourses, sometimes you are not ready to understand the depth in which I give my discourse scientifically. So timelessly I need to reassure you that the same absolute science that you are hearing, that is what does the repair. The voice of the Guru giving transcendental discourses is what does the repair within you. So it is very, very important to make as many satsangs as possible to have the best repair job done on you as possible. You can see, here's Chris, okay? He's from a country few thousand kilometers away, all right? And he fits in 100%, yet he does not know what I'm discussing. But just hearing my transcendental voice, he has become a pure Vaishnavite. He has become a pure Vaishnavite. You all hear the soothing sound of his drumming. You all hear it, of his playing the nal. There is no nal where he comes from. You understand? He just sat here one day, Shyam told him play. And he started playing. Alright? You'll hear the sweetness because he's doing it for the love. He knows the Lord's name is Narayan. And that's all you need to know. Don't get complicated. Don't get technical. Don't start a gossip group. Don't phone each other and gossip, hey, that devotee came, Sugar's got a brand new mug. Hey, Acharyaji getting top donations. I don't know what is bluffing Sugar's. Sugar's is coming every satsang. You understand? Don't gossip, don't worry about Sugar's. Alright, if we change his name to cocaine, that's not your problem. If he got a promotion and his name is now cocaine, don't get worried. Don't phone someone and don't discuss Sugar's promotion. All of you understand? Just come here, fix your own vehicle. And when you go out, only say good things. If you saw some bad things, overlook it. If you saw some bad things, overlook it. Because those people that committed the bad things is for repairs here themselves. Everyone here is for some repair job. Because soon as you leave a satsang, and if you belong in a satsang, and you gossip for that very same satsang, and God is the substratum of the satsang, will you be benefited at all? And this is my experience in the years I'm doing satsang. This is where factions start taking place. When people start making that phone call. If somebody phones you, Jessica, and want to discuss any satsang matter, say, Narayan, if you want to discuss anything in satsang, I'm not the guru. I'm the disciple. Please come with me, I'll pick you up. I'll close the entire Chatsworth court. I'll come, I'll pick you up and I'll take you to the Guru, tell the Guru, and after you finish tell the Guru, I'll drop you off. Then me and Satyajit will go open the court and tell the magistrates, come back and start with you. Alright? All of you understand? That is the greatest poison. in Sanatana Dharma. When it becomes political and when they want to start gossiping and talking about each other, that is not required in this satsang. In this satsang, must lift that person up. If you see someone falling, pick them up. That is your duty. So I want to sum up. Learn the disciplines of your Guru. When you want to serve the Guru, you cannot serve the Guru how you serve a human being or how you serve a sick person or how you serve a crippled person. Don't think you can serve the Guru like that. This is the mistake people make. Alright? One of those people is Sita. She just cooks for the Guru. Anything that comes in her mind, she wants the Guru to be the first taster, right? It's a good thought, but remember, you cannot serve the Guru by feeding him, by clothing him, by bankrolling him. That is not service to the Guru. A real Guru cannot be served in that manner. That is partial service. Thank you, Dana, for the dhoti material. From when Mataji is in the right frame of mind, you'll only see me wearing white dhotis now. As soon as she manufactures, Dana already bought the material. So carry on buying the material, Dana, but it is not full service to the Guru how you serve a human being. It is partial service. The real service is following the discipline of the Guru's teachings. Is following the discipline of the Guru's teaching. That is the actual service that you do for a Guru. When a disciple comes to satsang and goes back home, or an aspirant comes to satsang, sits, listens to everything the Guru says, and then go home and act how they were acting before, then that is a nominal aspirant, not a true aspirant. That's just a nominal aspirant, and that aspirant is a slave to his body. That aspirant is a slave to his or her body. And what is the body I just taught you, Sugars? The F word. You can use it in the satsang, filth. Alright? Filth. Alright? It means that aspirant is a slave to its body. But that aspirant that goes home and starts learning to live within the disciplines of the Guru, then that is a real aspirant. Then you get that Guru that will take money, that want name, and that want fame. That is a nominal Guru. That is a nominal Guru, and that Guru becomes a slave to the aspirant. That Guru becomes a slave to the aspirant. And if you go on Facebook, Jessica, you will find many of these Gurus slaves to their aspirant, because they appease what you came to hear. They appease what you came to hear, Krishna, and by appeasing you, they just become ordinary people. Because a bona fide Guru is not here to appease you. He's here to fix you. He's here to fix you. So there's a difference between an appeasing Guru and a fixing guru. A fixing guru will have very little aspirants following him, because many of us don't want to get fixed. Many of us want to be appeased. So they'll ask you, Guruji, if I meditate half an hour every day, will my problems get solved? Then I say, yeah, sit in this lotus position and meditate. When you're sitting in this lotus position and you're meditating, are you meditating? Where my husband is, where my wife is, where my son is, will I manage to pay my light account? Is that meditating?
No.
But they tell you, sit in a yoga mat, sit in a lotus position. I heard them doing it on the radio, Jessica. Take a deep breath. Announcers, radio announcers. Take a deep breath. Release your breath. When you went home, your story is the same. These are appeasing gurus. Alright? So I take a militant approach and I take a hard line because I love you. You understand? So all parents, mothers are soft like butter. Fathers are softer than the butter of mothers. But fathers never show it. Because somebody has to put in that militant discipline. And sometimes the children don't know, even when the fathers pass away, the children don't know how much their fathers love them. Because fathers will never take you by your collar and say, Shawan, I love you. Alright? If I have to say, Shawan, I love you, how many of you come into satsang on Sunday? Most of you, I think. I might be already cremated and Shawan sitting on the seat. So you don't tell your children, I love you. You keep them guessing right up till you're dead. Otherwise, this is what children do to the fathers. They will manipulate, because they're already manipulating the mother. And they're waiting for a gap to manipulate the father. So the father has to draw a straight line. But the love of the father is as equal as the love of the mother. And sometimes the butter is softer than the heart of the mother. All of you understand? Everyone? Sita? You don't have to understand. You just carry on. Okay? So I'm going to read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita to conclude. Chapter 13. These verses in chapter 13 is to purify you. Is to purify you as a body or soul? Soul. It is to make you understand that you are not the body. And in this verse, Lord Sri Krishna states, modesty, comma, absence of ostentation, comma, non-injury, comma, patience, comma, sincerity, comma, service of the preceptor. Who is the preceptor? What preceptor means? Preceptor means your teacher. Which teacher is the Lord talking about? Tivashni, your maths teacher? Which teacher is Lord Sri Krishna talking about? Your guru. Purity, firmness, and self-restraint. Did you see that within these qualities that the Lord wants you to imbibe, He inserted the spiritual master in the center? Because if without a spiritual master, you cannot imbibe these qualities. It is impossible. Who's saying this? Lord Krishna. You think he made a mistake by writing service to the preceptor. If in the midst of the good qualities that you need to realize that you are the soul, you will have to go to a bona fide spiritual master. Are there any questions? So again, I want to state that I appreciate, and when the Guru appreciates, then the Lord appreciates as well. Okay? Jai Shriman Narayan. Krish, you must come and see me before you go, right?